Diddy is now under arrest for all the terrible things he has done in his entire life. At the moment, there are more than 100 lawsuits against him. The victims remember all his atrocities.
You're gonna hear about my party, they're gonna
horror.
be shutting them down, they're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time.
This 1999 interview turned out to be prophetic. Diddy is now under arrest for all the terrible things he has done in his entire life. At the moment, there are more than 100 lawsuits against him. The victims remember all his atrocities, such as Justin Bieber. In 2020, Justin talked about wanting to protect a then 18-year-old Billie Eilish from the harms of the music industry. Many on social media started saying that this also refers to Diddy.
But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters, and I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. Yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
When Justin Bieber started off his career, he cited Diddy to be one of his biggest influences. He even called out to the record executive mogul for a collaboration in 2009 when he was 15. Though a collab didn't happen then, the two bonded after they were connected through Justin's mentor, Usher. Whereas Usher's mentor was, you guessed it, Diddy. When Usher was 14 years old, he lived for a year at Diddy's camp called Flavor Camp. This camp was an intensive program designed for young artists where they could develop their musical skills under the guidance of experienced industry professionals. According to Usher, during that year, he saw a lot of wild and very curious things taking place, and he didn't necessarily understand it.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
Meanwhile, Bieber spent 48 hours with Diddy, and as Diddy says in this video, he is not going to say exactly what they were going to do, but it is the dream of every 15-year-old teenager.
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
A year later, another video was published where Bieber felt uncomfortable when Puff asked him why they don't hang out together anymore.
You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
In 2011, they appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live. The convo started off with Jimmy asking Diddy and Justin what their relationship was about, if they were collaborating on music. Diddy responded, saying they had become friends, quote, in a strange way, and Justin was like his little brother, unafraid to call and ask him for advice. The music mogul also explained the record industry was a strong family, and Justin was someone they had their arms around to protect him from vultures in the music biz. Diddy described Justin as a genuinely nice person with lots of talent, adding that he's one of the greatest kids you could ever know. Bieber smiled and shook Diddy's hand, telling Jimmy that the Bad Boy Records CEO had bought him a Lamborghini, but he hadn't received it yet. Jimmy asked Diddy when Justin could expect the fancy car, and that's when Diddy gave a stunning response.
Got me a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
In 2020, Justin joined Diddy's live stream. Justin spoke warmly of him there. At the same time, he spoke in such a tone as if he was afraid of him.
I just want to say raising awareness for the Black community and what is happening. It's absolutely ridiculous, and what you're doing is powerful, and it needs to be said. So I thank you so much for doing that as well.
Thank you, love you, yeah.
Absolutely.
Boy, I'm about to call you sister.
Man, whatever you do, man, I'm here.
In 2021, another strange video appears in which Diddy seems to be checking Bieber for a microphone. In 2023, Bieber appeared on Diddy's album, The Love Album, Off the Grid. On Instagram, they exchanged kind words about each other again, and at the end of his comment, Justin says, "Love you, Diddy." As we can see, Bieber has spoken positively about Diddy more than once. However, how sincere is this? After all, he could just be saying it out of fear. Puff has been involved in scandals and conflicts that still leave questions. So, let's go in order and start with his wild 90s. At first, Tupac and Puff Daddy were good friends, and they hung out together a handful of times. Pac believed that Puffy could make a superstar out of Biggie. The thing is that when Biggie was preparing the Ready to Die album, Biggie worried that he could miss his shot, considering that the new label he was signed to, Bad Boy, owned by Diddy, hadn't been taken off yet. Things weren't happening quickly enough for him, he complained. He asked Tupac to take over as his manager, in hopes Tupac could advance his music and film career as rapidly as he'd done his own. Tupac declined the offer and told him to be in Bad Boy, where Puff Daddy would make a star out of him. That's exactly what happened. After the release of the album, Biggie became a superstar. But in 1994, an incident occurred that turned them from friends into sworn enemies. Tupac was contacted by Jimmy Henchman, a known associate of Haitian Jack, to appear on a Little Sean song, an artist he represented. That same night, Big was in the studio with Junior Mafia. They were working on the song Player's Anthem. Lil Cease saw Pac from the balcony and called him to his place. Lil Cease went to meet the guest, and when he came down, he saw Tupac and his friends lying on the floor. Two robbers pointed guns at them and told them to get back into the elevator. They went upstairs, and Lil Cease told Big that they were being robbed. When they came back, Pac was lying on the floor, all bloodied. Tupac said the crew looked surprised and guilty, but Puffy claimed they showed him nothing but love and concern. He accused Jimmy Henchman, Haitian Jack, and of course, Puffy and Biggie of the robbery. Pac was so upset that he had been framed by his own friends. In turn, in an interview for Vibe, Puffy said that he had nothing to do with the robbery.
I have proved things that I could say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody.
Puffy began to worry for his life when Big J, a close friend of Suge Knight, was killed after a run-in between Death Row and Bad Boy. Puff saw his savior in the face of OG Keefe D from LA. In the early 90s, an East Coast client named Eric Von Zip Martin introduced Keefe D to Puff Daddy at one of the parties. They shook hands, and that was it. The first time Puffy and Keefe D contacted each other was when Puff wanted to rent a car for Usher's first video, Can You Get With? In general, after the tragic incident with Big Jake, according to Keefe D, Puff told him that he had problems with Big CEO and Pac. So if he resolved the issue, so to speak, he would receive $1 million. In addition to this, according to Napoleon from Outlaws, Puffy said that whoever steals a chain from Death Row Records will receive $10,000.
Puffy was saying we want to put this chain in our video, and that's why the guys try to snatch the chain.
One of Keefe D's friends went to the mall, where he met a rival gang and proceeded to get beaten. Help later arrived, and they beat them and took the chain with the Death Row logo. Orlando Anderson took part in this fight. And then came the fateful day for Pac. After Mike Tyson's fight, one of the Death Row participants of that fight saw Orlando and told Pac about it, who, without hesitation, went to deal with him and avenge his friend. In a few hours, Pac would be killed in a BMW.